This is To Wit, a podcast for women in tech doing life. I'm Christy Guzman.
And I am Melinda Smith. Welcome to March. It's almost spring.
Just talking and or making faces makes you laugh.
You make me laugh. I don't know what to tell you.
Hello.
It's amazing.
So for those of you who've listened for a while, you know that we like to read. Some of us use our book light more than others, but we don't judge.
Not this girl.
Here in this witty zone. So if anyone is interested in reading along with us, I saw a review of Girl, Wash Your Face. Stop believing the lies about who you are so you can become who you're
meant to be. And she is a stylist, right?
That's a great, I haven't started the book yet. So
I looked her up. She does a style blog and like life and style blog.
She's wearing red chucks on this picture on the cover of the book. So I feel like that means we'd be friends. That's all I really know though so far. But if you are interested in getting the book, we both have a copy. Once Southeast Dreaming is over, then I will allow myself to start reading it because otherwise it would reinforce my procrastination. So next episode, we'll check in about the book. And if we like it, then maybe you can read it. Or you can read along with us and then yell at us when we say silly things about it. So we want to try a new thing.
I read the prologue, intro type thing, and part of the first chapter. And this is what I've come to realize about myself. I've been struggling to read Girls, I believe is the title. I don't know if it's a semi-autobiographical or just all fiction about a girl in like 60s, 70s cult life. It's very popular, lots of awards, and I don't not like it, just double negative there. It just hasn't really grabbed my attention. And I think I've come to realize that I really like self-improvement books. I have been wanting to read the subtle art of not giving a fuck. It's like leering at me and I'm trying to read this novel, but I like that stuff. I like Girl, Wash Your Face. I like the Brene Brown books. I like the things that make me like nod and want to highlight a passage. And I do like fiction, like every self-improvement or biography I read, like, then I'll throw one in every 5, but I just want to read this. So I know that it might give people a serious twitch to tell you that I often pick up books and then never finish them, which just wigs some people out.
Yeah, sometimes I have a book that I bought for a silly reason, right? Like I do buy some things based on, title or the cover or whatever. And then sometimes they just don't turn out. And I feel like that's okay. You can accept there's enough things to do in life that you can accept that you won't like a book.
Yeah.
And maybe just give up.
Yeah, I just can't. I can't commit to reading it because then I do that skimming thing. And then I think I'm speed reading. Really what I'm doing is skimming, I believe. And I was like, I totally got the context of that paragraph in 5 words. Like, I am such a good speed reader.
You know that you should stop reading silly throwaway romance novels when you actually skim over the sex parts and you're just like trying to read for the plot. You're like, yeah, they do that.
Get back to the character build already.
Serious. But will his mom be happy about your relationship? Anyway.
That's hilarious. We do have an amazing guest, so we don't want to take a ton of time. But I wanted to talk about for just a quick second. I know a lot of you do this, and Amy talks about it before. I think just casually she's mentioned it to others. The first time I heard about this, I had just moved back to Colorado. It's probably about 2001, 2002. And I was the receptionist at JP Morgan Chase. I just finished broadcasting school. So I was trying to, I guess, work in the corporate world. I was kind of, early 20s.
I guess.
Yeah. I mean, I was doing my dad helped me get the job or I got through like a temp agency or something. And it was so far different than working restaurants. So I'm like wearing grown-up clothes and having to use my manners and not run around, like sit at a desk, which was such a challenge from, running around at Outback Steakhouse or working at a bar. So
Mm.
I had gone to a class, like a administration class that the my current boss at the time sent me to, and they talked about like personalizing your space, like getting a car seat cover for your chair at your desk, which I did. I got like Hawaiian flowers, and keeping. I think they even called it a kudos folder, and I think that that's what Amy calls it. I like to call it kudos for sure, and I think in some of my things I keep it as like a wins folder. But I think it's nice
Mhm.
to keep the nice emails, keep the emails like the one I got after I gave that talk on what the community is and how it's wonderful for you to my community here at Blue Wolf. And I got that beautiful email right away that was like, thank you so much. This exemplifies why I want to work for this company and the community. And you're like, wow, that made me feel so good. Squirreling those away or not forgetting to write on a post-it, the wins that you had. Um, I've had a lot of little things here and there that you forget to like, it's okay to pat yourself on the back every once in a while and be like, holy crap, my session got accepted for Dreamo Lake. That's amazing. But then we always, I think, no matter who you are, you get caught in that, don't over,
You have a day.
yeah, or like don't, you got to be humble, don't brag, don't do those things. So then
Mm.
sometimes you take those wins and you maybe don't make a big deal out of it. But yeah, like you said, but if you're having a day and you have your little wins folder or your kudos folder, it's nice to look back and say, yeah, I feel super stuck right now, or I'm kind of frustrated at my position at, X, Y, and Z company. But if I look back, I've actually made a lot of leaps and a lot of cool, uh, thank you,
Progress.
progress in the last, however many months. I just lost all of my words. Like if I were a Shel Silverstein cartoon, they flew right out of my head and out this door. Like just gone. Like,
Yeah, I think it's interesting. I think we've talked about part of my ADD journey has been, well, ADD and depression really, but has been internalizing some of that and realizing when I'm in the moment of I'm the worst and I can't do anything, that like realize that that's not true, but to have that evidence at hand, I think can be really helpful. And that kind of, whether it's a gratitude journal or, just thinking about more things about gratitude, or like you say, kind of filing away the emails that you get or the messages or whatever it might be so that you kind of have a booster when you need one. And just a reminder that you're not going to win every day. It's funny joking about Southeast Dreamin' that we had a great call with some other community leaders. They're trying to get together kind of a unified front from the Salesforce side, et cetera. And somebody made a joke about um, criticism and how it's that one negative voice that you remember instead
totally.
of the 50 compliments, and how like you have to really think about constructive criticism versus just a-holes, right? And the same kind of thing where I think it sucks that, but we do have to work so hard for the positive reinforcement reminders, um, and not just focus on the negative things that happen or the shame spiral kind of in
Absolutely.
your own
And then
head.
like from a career perspective too, I think it's good to have on hand when you're preparing to ask for a raise or for a promotion or a job change. Like I
Mm.
just want to draw attention to, this project that I freaking slam dunked and rolled out and it was amazing. Or, I've been asked to blog spot, write as a blog writer. I am good today with my words, but you know what I mean?
Well, and that's an interesting segue too, because I feel like, well, not segue, but comment, because I think there's nothing wrong at some points with asking for feedback a bit, right? If you are feeling, like for example, I might be judging myself for the thing that I couldn't get done today that I'll talk about in my lessons learned. But maybe somebody in general thinks I'm great, right? Or doesn't even know that and just is like, "Oh no, you're totally on track." So um just remembering that your impression of yourself is not always the same impression of others. So if you can, work it in a conversation or even just say like, can I get some feedback on how you
Yeah,
think I'm
I
doing so
like the
far, right?
feedback, but I go through
Um,
this like 7 stages of feedbackness, if there was one. if I've asked for it or if it's
Mm.
given in like a, I don't know, review. I'm much better now because I can recognize it, but it is definitely like at first I'm put off, irritated, or annoyed. Um, then I try and in my own head, not all this is out loud, maybe be defensive. And then, in the next 30 seconds, I'm trying to be understanding and understand that this person actually wants me to succeed, which hopefully is the case in these situations. And then usually I come around to, and what comes out my mouth is, acknowledgement and great. How can we move forward? Most in the last, 10 years or so of my career, at least I've had the, hey, here's where you're not doing so awesome, also coupled with here's how you're doing awesome. So at least I've had that benefit. But I mean, my mentor, I remember her sitting me in her office and just basically looking at me and saying, you can fucking do better. And I was like, what? How dare you? And then I'm like, no,
Mm.
like I know that she is trying to push me, but it's hard to hear sometimes. Um, but yeah, like if you hearing it from others, it sometimes can give you the perspective that you're doing better than you think. But if you're sometimes like me, there's like 7 grades of emotion that happen in about a minute, which is very exhausting. It's super exhausting being me, just in general.
So, hug manager, who it's great to be you. What kind of you got a fun thing you've learned recently?
I have learned in kind of scoping out for some of these new projects for the new product we're rolling out. I learned about some fun integrations like Quip, Slack, and G Suite.
Ooh.
Yeah, just like simple things that I've never had to play with. But I watched this cool video on the developer forum of quickly adding in the Apex class and process builder. So every time an opportunity status changes, it posted in the Slack channel. And I was like, that's so cool. So I went into my dev org, installed Slack, and I was like, okay, let me figure this out. Because I saw in Process Builder, it picked an Apex class. I'm like, ugh, because I'm going to do this for a customer and it's supposed to be an easy win. So I'm like, well, this may
Mm-hmm.
not be an easy win if I'm going to have to go and learn how to write Apex classes for this. But I installed a package. They're all there. And then the other video teaches
Yay!
you like the backslashes. So it's just like, here's the fun stuff. Now just make it work. So I don't know. I love the simple, easy wins. And I'm going to probably integrate one of my Slack channels with my dev org just to dink around and play with it. But yeah, I just learned how easy it is.
Thank you to whoever wrote those classes and packaged them
Yes.
for the rest of the world.
And the Quip installation. So I'm trying to think of another example I use, but you install Quip in your org, and then if you're in Lightning, it just walks you through. It's all step 1, do this, here's a link for it. Step 2, do this, here's a link for it. I'm like, it's so user friendly. They made it so nice for maybe a brand new admin that's like, you want what? Integrate? I don't know how to do an
Well,
integration.
yeah, and it's nice too. I think Quip is picking up, especially for people that don't use G Suite, right? So we're a Microsoft shop, and so you lose some of that collaborative ability that you kind of get used to when you're at a company that has it. So pulling in Quip, we used to use for project timelines. So the nice thing is you can kind of integrate pieces into Quip, like reports, and take notes on records and reports. Or from the flip side, you can link Quip documents to records in Salesforce, so you can kind of go both ways. So that
It's
one I've
really
had some
cool.
experience with, and yeah, it's interesting to be able to make comments and see a history of what's changed. Um, is fun. So yeah, the community team is using it a lot more. So for any kind of user group leaders or dream leaders,
Yeah. Well, and that's kind of what led me to it is we did a spring 18 release as the first Tro-led user group meeting for Denver. So it was Kirsten and I's first meeting. And I'm like, let's do the spring release. And Joanna, she's so sweet. She's so used to doing it all. She's like, what do you need? Can you need anything from me? I'm like, nope, we'll do it. You can intro us. We're good to go.
show up.
Yeah. So the Salesforce community team did a really great job of sending out the Spring 18 in a box. So I was looking through Jen Lee's blog because that's my source of truth when it comes to release notes. So I picked out things that I liked, but it was aside from just knowing like, oh, I kind of know what that is. I could speak to it. I demoed some things, and I was fearful that someone would ask me a question. So anything I spoke on, I wouldn't tried and tested or did. Because I mean, this isn't my 16 at max 16 attended women wit meeting. This is like 100 plus with people, much more people.
Right.
So I was prepared, but yeah, I got to learn about the quip stuff. So yeah, it's been helpful.
So my learning this week has been somewhat more frustration with change sets. So hypothetically, I thought we've been doing some stuff in a dev org, a dev sandbox, um, around communities, and the same community exists in another sandbox. So I thought I could kind of just take the pieces I'm ready to have be QA'd and move them to the QA sandbox, but that appears to not be the case. So you select the entire community, and it seems like it basically does an overlay.
Like a copy
Except
or kind of an overwrite.
no, I think it just like overlays all your pages and your components and your component settings. But I kind of wanted to just pick specific pages and then their dependencies. So I know there's better ways, and I'm an advanced admin and I should be better, but um, this is my declarative tool, right?
Is
So
this where I'm supposed to
it's
say Force
failing.
IDE? Is this the thing I'm supposed to say here?
You could do ants with eclipse or something, but whenever I hear ants, I think of ants like at my picnic, and I don't know. So I'm sure someone listening to this is like, "Oh my god, Christy, you could totally do this better with blah blah blah."
Yeah, because that's people that listen to. They judge us like
Yeah,
real harsh.
exactly.
Oh my
Seriously, what I even did.
where are you even on this
Um,
podcast?
So support is currently looking at it because there seems like I suspect there's something that's got a permission error that's like included in the dependencies, except like you're the one making me roll out the whole community. So I installed all the managed packages that are involved, although some of them I wanted to delete, but then it. So anyway, it's been not as seamless of a process as I would have hoped. And it doesn't even make it to the destination org. So it's not that it's trying to validate and failing once it gets there. It's getting rejected before it even gets there, which is new for me. I've never had that happen. So, yeah.
Change sets.
So,
didn't we go to True to the Core that they're working on it?
I'm sure that this is not the first time that they will have received negative feedback about change. If anyone.
So would you like me to tell you a little bit about our super awesome, wonderful wit guest?
Ooh, maybe I would.
So, drum roll. Oh, I'm knocking over the mic. Maybe I won't drum roll. Toya Gatewood. So, selfishly, as we notated in the Twitters, we have an amazing list of guests that we want to have on. And I bumped her to the top because she made the move from admin to consultant. And in the Slack channel, I saw her having conversation with, I think, a few other people, Carrie, kind of talking about that'd be a really great session. And I was like, yes, it is. And I'm doing it. Let's talk.
Yeah, let's talk about it.
I know what I want to discuss. I've been, making my slides and making my notes, but I definitely want to hear from others. I'd like it to be more of a data gathering than just what I feel about it. So, of course, that's why I'm having her on. But less about me, more about her. Moving on. She's an MVP, co-lead of the Women in Tech Diversity team. Like I said, admin to consultant badassery, and a sassy social media posts. I definitely never miss a moment to read something that she's posted because it's usually I'm always like, yep, or it makes me laugh. And a fan of bourbon. So,
Ooh.
without further ado, Miss Toya Gatewood. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
We had some technical difficulties, but hey, we're here.
Yeah, all on my part. I'm sorry. My bad.
No, well, I expect you to know everything about computers, technology, and every cloud-based system. So I do blame you.
Can't fly over vehicles in traffic.
Yeah.
But I'm finally here. I'm thrilled.
You're finally here. We're excited to talk to you. I have a list of questions, but I wasn't sure if you would like to tell everybody who the hell you are.
Ooh.
No. I wonder that myself most days. But for public consumption, I'm Toya Gatewood. I am a newly minted consultant at Slalom at their
Mm.
practice. Very excited. This is my third week. Prior to that, I was a solo admin for 9 years at two different organizations, one venture capital firm, one high profile trade technology association. And I decided to make the leap to consulting because I wanted to do something different. Only ever been a solo admin, only focused on the Sales Cloud, and I wanted to stretch myself and challenge myself. So I made that leap. What else about me? I'm a user group leader for Women in Tech Diversity, and I'm an MVP.
I feel like when we first met, not only did you only have one functioning leg at the time, but you also lived in Chicago, right? So you already made a jump. What took you to DC? Just the job, or did you kind of want to go anyway?
I was in Cincinnati, so close enough.
That's what I
Chicago
meant.
is a better
I met
city.
you in Chicago.
Chicago's a better city in the Midwest, so I know why you went with that. I did only have one functioning leg, also true. Um,
I like this game. True facts about Toya.
when I met my husband, he lived in DC and I lived in Cincy. And we had that debate, like, God, now 18 years ago about who would move where. And he moved to Cincinnati, but we always wanted to go back to DC. And when I found out about the opportunity to relocate, I jumped all over it. And so that whole interview process to take that job, interview, offer, accepting the job took like 3.5 weeks.
Nice.
And that was like 2 years ago.
Well, TC is a cool vibe. I mean, I've only visited like I think twice. And once I did, the mall, the Hope Diamond, things like that. And the second time I went out there, it was cold. Like I still thoroughly enjoyed it, but it was cold, cold. But that city, I just really dig it.
I love DC, and this is why I wanted to come back here. Like, all the museums are free. There are tons of restaurants and bars, and more bars.
More bourbon.
More bourbon. Cheers to that. And the Salesforce community out here is growing and getting bigger and more involved. So it's just a really great city. And I'm like 3 hours from New York by the train. I'm like an hour or two from Chicago. So I can pretty much get anywhere I need to go pretty quickly. I love it here.
Do you live like in the city?
I do. I live in the city. I lived in Cincinnati for 20 years, so I didn't move out here to move to the suburbs. No offense to the burbs. But I live in the city. I can see the Capitol building from my bedroom window. I can see the dome.
Very Olivia Pope of you. I dig it.
I know. Now I just have to like get ruthless like Olivia Pope, and I'll be living the dream.
I kind of feel like you have that ruthlessness in you already. You're just very overlaid with kindness.
It was a secret before now, so thanks.
We're just all about outing people on this. What other secrets you want me to tell? I think we've probably talked about this. So my introduction to the WIT diversity team, I guess maybe I should ask this question first. You guys have been doing this for 2 years, right? 3 years.
This is our third year. Yes.
And you guys kind of formed before I don't want to say it actually existed before the publication and publicizing of the equality team at Salesforce, correct?
It did, yeah. We started meeting in the fall of October. The fall of 2015. I've only had one bourbon, believe it or not. But it sparked because I met Shauna at Midwest Dreamin' in July of 2015. And the reason that I approached her, we probably haven't talked about this, like the WIT diversity origin story.
Yes.
We were at this great event. There's like 500 people there, and Shauna was the only other Black woman that I saw. And so I walked up to her and said, "Hey, I'm Black, you're Black, let's hang out."
Is that how it works?
That is definitely what I did. And she looked at me like I was crazy, and I said, "I see you giving me side eye, and I don't care." And we became like super fast friends after that. And like maybe
That's awesome.
months later, she's like, I got this idea. Let's do this with diversity thing. And I'm like, okay, let's do it. Got approval to get the user group. And then it's just been gangbusters since then. It's one of the things that I enjoy most about the community. Is
So, for those who haven't attended one, as one of the more unique in that it's all web based, right? So, kind of tell people what the format's like.
So, yep, all web based. We meet every month with very few exceptions. So, if we're like sick and on the verge of dying, we don't do it. Um, it's all virtual. People call in. It's all on Zoom. We do not force people to show their faces. So they don't have to. It's all audio. It's all recorded. And every month we pick a different topic. Usually Shauna and I pick, but if we get suggestions from the group, we will explore those. We have guest speakers, and we talk about a variety of topics. So basically, I guess our theme is women in tech face challenges. We know, but as diverse women in tech, we face special challenges. So sort of like a twofer thing, but in a bad way. And so we talk about ways to address that and combat that. And then we also talk a lot about just Black history in general. So for March, of course, International Women's Month. So we decided to focus on International Women's History Month, excuse me. And so we decided to focus on Black women in history whose names you don't know, but you should.
Mm.
So we picked a million names, but we narrowed it down to 4, and it was just a really great meeting. So I discovered something new, discovered somebody new that I hadn't heard about before. So it's a learning opportunity for everybody involved, not just for the participants, but for Shauna and I as leaders.
Well, and I think it's an interesting example of something where, like, I've had people ask me, can men participate in WIT group events, and why do we even need WIT group events? And I think it's interesting because I say to them, like, we already know we're awesome. Like, we need other people to know. And I feel like it's the same kind of thing, right? I think diversity, and I'm like, oh, I'm a cisgender white woman. Like, that doesn't apply to me. But there's definitely still interesting things to learn, and other perspectives to hear.
Be an ally, yeah.
Yeah, so our group is open to everybody because, like you said, it's not just us. We know that we are badass, right? We need other people to not only know that, but to advocate for us when we're not in the room. So if somebody is making comments that are disparaging about women, about any marginalized group, we need some ally or accomplice in the room, because accomplice is somebody who's going to take a risk for us to say, hey, that's not cool. This is why. That is trash. Do better with your life. And so we like to introduce concepts to get people to challenge people's way of thinking. Like, why do you have to have those groups anyway? Aren't they exclusionary? It's like,
so. I get so tired of hearing that. How some of the comments out there are, this is exactly the same. This is, like you said, exclusionary. This is, this is causing diversity or division. And it's not at all the case. And, it's typical, you can kind of guess the people probably making those comments, but I guess I don't understand anyone out there that feels challenged by, groups just trying to get ahead or trying to help other allies and accomplices in this world be better humans.
Right.
I had a conversation with someone. This was a while ago, and a girlfriend and I were like, I will always try and be better. I will always try to be a better human. And if it's changing the way I have said something in the past because it's not okay anymore, I want to always have those friends in my life that check me on that.
Right. Absolutely. And it's not just like we're lecturing white women or white men about anything. It's just about awareness. Once you know better, you can do better. And then it's also for us. Like, we don't just talk about racial disparities. We've talked about transgender issues, which I'm not super educated on. So we brought in a professor from Michigan State to talk to those issues. We're going to have another speaker in April that'll touch on some of those issues, I think. So it's not just about race, it's about ways that we are all privileged in some way. So I'm a cisgendered heterosexual woman who's Black, but I'm privileged in a way that a trans woman would not be, or a lesbian woman would not be. So we all need to use our privilege to help uplift other people, and we all benefit from that.
Do you have all of your recordings somewhere? So if someone is listening now and is like, how the hell did I miss this? And I want to go back and listen.
We do have them all. We all have them posted in the WIT diversity group. We post them after every meeting. But if someone missed it and didn't want to go back through 2 years of recordings, we can get that. We have them all. I don't even remember what all of our topics have been, so I should probably go back and listen to those.
We've talked about the fact that I don't remember what we talk about either. So
I mean, like last week.
Doesn't mean it wasn't good.
Right. I'm sure it was amazing, but I don't know what it was. I can barely remember what I did last week.
Isn't that the damn truth? Do you feel like your Salesforce journey has been better, worse, the same in being a Black woman in technology?
I think that it's been fantastic for me. Our Ohana has never been anything but welcoming. I've never had anybody give me like any comments that they shouldn't have, because of course you guys would have heard about it, because you know I talk.
And they'd be taken out.
Right. I've never felt like anybody disparaged me in any way, but it can feel isolating when you're at a conference like Dreamforce. There's 170,000 people, or even, you know, our smaller regional meetings that we have, and you're the only one in the room who looks like you. That can be isolating. So it's nice to have that support system that I think we've built over the past few years, and then to have that champion from Salesforce with the Office of Equality and Tony Profit and Molly Ford and that team. Like, that's amazing. It feels great to be affirmed. You know what I mean?
Yeah, totally.
Molly Ford will be speaking at Southeast Dreaming.
I'm on that.
I admittedly reach out to Shauna when I have my own personal white girl has Black questions. And I asked her once, I was like, because she's patient with me. And I'll just be like, I need your help here.
I get those calls too, so it's fine.
Thank God she's patient with me, because I'm sure it's like an eye roll. But I reach out to her for like things that I'm like, I don't know how to ask certain questions or invite more diversity in my life. And I know someone that I can ask about that. So I think it's nice to have those allies as you as well, because I don't always have the answers. I reached out to Shauna recently because I'm like, I need more diversity in the selections that we're making for Witness Success. I've reached out before, been like, how do I invite more diversity into my personal life? I was like, right. What do I do? Where do I go? And she's like, you have lost your damn mind. But I'm
fair though. That's fair.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's not always a comfortable questions to ask, and you want to make sure that you aren't an asshole. So my friends, I'm glad to hear though that like on that topic too, that like the Salesforce people have been as inviting in general to you, because absolutely. It was a bit of a leading question, but I think I would have been a little heartbroken if you're like, meh, it's the same.
I probably would not be as enthusiastic as I am if I had run into that, even though I love the platform, but I love the people too. So that just makes it that much better.
And then the leap to consulting. So we talked a little bit now, of course, selfishly, I am giving a session talk at Dream Olay on the transition from admin to consultant. So we being Sam, Safa, and Amy and I had talked about doing this as a panel discussion like 2 London's callings ago. That's a mouthful.
London's
London's
callings
callings ago. And then Dreamforce, and it didn't get picked up. And I told them, hey, let's submit here. And both of them said, I have obligations. I can't. So then it gets picked up. And I thought, oh gosh, okay, now I got to actually do this thing.
Right.
So when I saw in the MVP channel that we were chatting about it, and Carrie and some other people were like, you should do a session. I was like, yes, I am. Help me, give me more data. So, I mean, how long have you been at it? Do you have any like aha moments, or, well, that was something I definitely didn't expect?
So I was going to ask you those same questions.
I got lots.
As of right now, I have been a consultant for 12 days.
Nice. So seasoned.
I am seasoned. I'm a vet. I think probably what has surprised me the most is that as solo admins, we've been consultants the whole time. So we didn't have like necessarily the formal framework like agile or waterfall or stand-ups or all the terminology surrounding that, but that's what we were doing, right? So we were doing savoir.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We were doing that and getting our user stories, right? And building epics and doing all of that, and then testing things in Sandbox and doing iterations before releasing it to production. Like all of that is project management, right? We just didn't have a name up for it. We were just saying, hey, this is what we're doing. So I think that surprised me the most.
It's so true.
Pleasant.
I didn't even think about that. You're so right.
It's a pleasant surprise. So yeah, there's a learning curve around, learning a new organization and learning the terminology, but it's not that different than what we've been doing for the years that we've been admins all the time. Mm. So that's encouraging.
Yeah.
So I'm ask me this in like 6 months, and I'm sure I'll have I don't know what I was expecting, but it wasn't this kind of moment. But it hasn't happened yet.
You hit the nail on the head that you did do all these things. You did listen to your users. You did roll out. You did do phased implementations of new products. So you did do all of these things. I think there's a level of comfort when it's your own org that you'll probably experience it when it's not, or you have a customer that says, I would like you to do X, Y, and Z, and you do X, Y, and Z, and they say, that's not what I meant. And you're like, I don't think I understand the question.
Yes. And I think that as admins, we sort of experience that frustration with our users because they say, I want A, and you build A, and then that's not what they want. Right. So you find out that what they really wanted was F.
Or you build A through F, and they're like, am I going to use that now? Wait, what?
Right. Like, no, thank you. I'm like, okay, that's fine. Great. So,
well, but to be fair, that happens when you've got your own org too. It's not like exclusive.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that happens with your own org all the time. Mm-hmm. And so it's just a matter of like learning how to get to the real why of what your users are asking for, and then the same thing on the consulting side. Like you come to me and say you want this thing, but that thing is not really what you want at all.
Yeah.
Sort of like being a parent. Minus the tax deduction.
Yeah, so true. Oh, tax deduction. That is very nice. Yeah, I think that the best thing about it is the different stuff you get to do, the different things you get to play with. Someone will cue you up and be like, meh, you can figure it out. And you do it fast. I do like that. I miss the admin part of it being my own org. Like, don't touch this. This is mine.
Right. So that's going to be an adjustment for me. But I'm hoping the excitement of always working with new clients and tackling new problems and learning new things will sort of outweigh that. So, like, I understand that there will be some stress involved with this. But I'm okay with that. Like, you need to grow. And so growing can be painful at times, but necessary. So when I call you and like start crying well, not literally, but like am complaining.
Oh, I was like, oh, good, I'm a crier too.
I'm not at all.
Well, how about this? I've cried enough tears for like 7 people in probably just the last month. So we're solid. I'm a crier.
So when I call you and complain, then remind me of this
Yeah,
conversation.
and well, there's nothing you can't do. Before we started recording, the amount of community support and the people that I've leaned on when I've said, yeah, I got this, and then I have like 12 hours to figure out the ins and outs of field service lightning. You do, and then you kind of, like you said, the stress makes you learn. The under pressure, which I'm sure experience as an admin too. Like, I have a tight timeline. I need to turn this around in a month. All right. Like, I'm going to learn this and I'm going to learn it fast. But it's, kind of I don't know. It's a nice way to learn in a weird, creepy way. I kind of like it.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I've only ever been a solo admin, so I've never had a team of Salesforce professionals.
That's actually a good question. How did you fall into Salesforce? Or like, what's your
how did you get there 8-9
background?
years ago?
What's my origin story?
Once upon a time,
I was working at a venture capital firm, and we were using a SaaS platform to sort of manage our applicants who were trying to get funding. But we had 2 distinct sets of reporting needs, one to our public investor, which was the state, and one to our private investors who required a different set of information. And that database we were using just was not cutting it. Mm-hmm. So one day, the CEO came to me and said, "Hey, we're going to use Salesforce." I said, "That's great.
Good for you.
You're gonna run it." I'm like, "Okay, that's fine too." So as soon as he left my desk, I like frantically started Googling because I'd never heard of Salesforce.
I got it.
I'm like, "Yep, no problem. I got it." So I worked with an implementation partner to sort of move all the data over and figure out how we need to structure everything. And they made me the admin, and I was like hooked.
Yeah.
And after about 3 months, I realized I had really no idea what I was doing. So I went back to the CEO and said, "You need to send me to training so that I do not destroy everything that we're trying to build here."
It's true. You know enough to be dangerous at that juncture in your career.
Exactly. So sent me to training in New York for a week, and I was like completely addicted at that point. So I started like reading everything and figuring out that there was a community out there and there was a local user group I could go to, and just ran from there. And funnily enough, I found the job in DC on the success community. So perfect. I have the Ohana to thank.
Samesies.
Yep, absolutely. So that's how I got started.
Your origin story. Mine is very similar with the Ohana. I just put it out there like, so who has 2 thumbs and was without a job? I'm like, this girl. Help. Somebody help me.
There you go.
And it's funny too is even prior to Salesforce, when I made a career change to the company that introduced me to Salesforce, it was kind of the same thing. I was fed up and could not do full commission sales and texted all my friends. So at that time, it was just a smaller version of my community. Yeah, right. And I was like, I need a new job. I can't do this anymore. And that's how I found that. So it's, that whole adage of it's all in who you know, which is true, but it doesn't have to be like the high powered people, to get you something. It's really just your people.
Right. Your connections. And that's what our Ohana is, right? Connections. So I know that I can go on Twitter or in the Slack channel or to the Trailblazer community anytime and ask a question and get it answered. Most likely by Steve Mo.
Yes, this is true. We were talking earlier before you came on about a wins or a kudos folder. Do you keep something like that as kind of a, if you've had a shit day or of a, hey, I kind of forget how awesome I am?
I don't, but I should because
I'm awesome.
Well, because you are awesome.
Yeah. Why don't I do that? I am a loser. I need to get on.
I feel like I asked you first.
Like, I need to get my life together. So I'm going to start that.
Yeah, so I started using Google Keep because of Christy, because she's smart. And I wrote down like the the successes in like the last like year. And, Amy keeps a folder of like emails that have been sent to her, and they're just really good for when you're feeling maybe you're questioning your life. Now, this is not meant to scare you, but I really don't know how else to put it. At least every project except for one, I had a moment where I was like, is this what I'm not cut out for this? I should just go back to being an admin. So I feel like get your folder in order. So when you have that moment after you call me and we have some bourbon, you can open your folder and be like, that's right.
So I had that moment today. So unfortunately, I don't have a badass folder. So I need to get that.
Get on it. Badass folder. New name.
Thank you for that.
Yeah, it's I forget about it sometimes. I mean, I can't even remember why I was writing that down today. I think because it's starting to be more known at my office, like the podcasting we've done, and I did app cookbook for the Trailblazer, because I don't say much at the office because it's only recently started going in very often. So I find myself being like, oh, it's no big deal, and kind of brushing it off. And then I thought, well, that's not really fair, because a lot of things, I've worked hard for. So I'm like, well, maybe if I keep a little list that I can say, yep, those are my wins. That's my badassery folder. Then I can either own it better when someone pays me a compliment, or I can just smile and know that I have my folder and I don't have to talk about it.
And do not say it's not that big a deal. My dad used to tell us, and he still does, it's a sad dog that does not wag its own tail. Wag your own tail.
I love
there
that.
are plenty of people who will be waiting to like be sort of negative or not really give you your kudos that you deserve. So give them to yourself.
It's true. We got to support each other, because it's kind of a woman thing to do too, to downplay and disregard some of our wins. So we'll just change that.
Too bad y'all can't see me, because I'm definitely wagging right now.
Yeah, it's weird not to see you guys right now, but I'll know for future reference. We'll do Skype instead. Zoom was like, hey, this part is free, is done. Bye.
Yeah, we're done. We're hanging up.
I wanted to tell you how much I love that your pinned tweet from 2015 is your girly geek of the week.
That was so amazing.
That was like one of the first real moments, right?
It was.
Me too.
It absolutely was. Like, I had no idea why Lauren wanted to talk to me. So I'm like, I'm not doing anything. But she did, and I was like so proud of that. I'm still proud of that, obviously.
I love that. It was very heartwarming when I went on there to, I was going to pull your little bio, make sure I had all my ducks in a row about,
stalking
who you are and stuff. Yeah, just,
I wasn't going to say that.
I don't want to be like,
thanks, Kristen. Yeah.
This is my very good friend, Toya Gatewood. Wait, what? No, we're super close.
Absolutely.
But I saw that and I was like, oh my God, adorable. I love that that's your pinned tweet, because when she asked me forever ago, I was like, what? Me? What do you mean? What?
Exactly. And I think that was the first like organic from the community approached me out of nowhere. I was super honored. I still am. And yeah, that's why it's still my pinned tweet, because that was like my first thing. I think we all remember that first moment where we were like, oh, and now other people are noticing. And I'm just out here like living my life and doing what I enjoy.
I remember how nervous I was the first WIT diversity call, and I raised my hand because I even remember what part of the road I was on in California. Really? And I raised my hand to ask the question about it. Oh my gosh, I was so nervous. I was like, don't say something stupid. Be clear with your words. Don't like stumble.
Call your ass out.
Ask your question. Yeah, like you guys were like you would say something and stumble over your words, and you'd be like, "You're done." But I was just super nervous because you have such admiration for the community when you're new to it. I'd still only been. I was still kind of fresh. I just moved to California. I was, I don't know, somewhere in there. But yeah, I remember being all nervous, like, oh my God, she picked me. I get to say my question.
Nobody should ever be nervous calling in to WIT diversity. It's a safe space. That's not to say that we don't have uncomfortable conversations, because we do, but nobody is judging. Nobody's like, oh my God, you're trash. I can't believe you didn't know that. Like, because
I want you to just Just call people trash. I love that.
That's like one of my favorite words. People ask questions, and there are like probably 10 other people on the call that are wondering the same thing but don't want to ask it. So we appreciate when people ask questions and give input, and even when they don't, we call people out. So you might as well like come on with your questions, because you're going to end up asking one if you wanted to or not.
Where can people find this information if they want to sign up?
So you can go to events.salesforceusergroups.com and search for Women in Tech Diversity. And you'll get the notifications of when we have our meetings every month. Go to the Trailblazer community. I'm still trying to.
Mm-hmm. That's Blazer.
Yes, success. This is my success. Hey, I feel like until you change the URL, it's success.
Exactly. So, Women in Tech Diversity there as well. Of course, you can contact either me or Shauna in the community or on Twitter. And you can just find me with my name. I'm easy. No, I'm not easy.
Toya
Me is easy. Toya Gatewood, no.
Do you like how I tag your group and everything I post on the community about witness success?
Like that.
You're welcome.
Diversity business. Like, yep. Mm-hmm. Tag us. And then, of course, you can. We have a handle on Twitter for the group, which is wit_diversity, and that's run by our fabulous social media guru, Jen Lee in Boston.
I love it.
So all those inspirational tweets and pictures that she sends, that's all Jen.
Yeah, she's really great at it.
She's amazing.
I feel like they're always very inspirational, and I love the imagery. She's very good at it.
Yes, she is. So that's how you can find all about Wit Diversity. And if you're in DC, just send me a note. And we can go out for bourbon.
For bourbon.
And of course, selfishly, I'm glad that we get to talk, and I have a month before the session speaks, so I'll be bugging you more of like, how are you? I'm going to be like your consulting therapist. How are you this week? How do you feel?
Okay, so
what do you learn?
I'll be sending you gotchas every week. Like, okay, I made a complete idiot of myself. So these are the things not to do.
Can I get my highs and my lows, please?
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm hoping I have some highs, but I'm thinking I'm going to have a lot of lows. But it's
I'm
okay.
thinking that in years of solo adminning, it's possible that you made some kind of Salesforce screw up along the way.
Oh, God.
I'm going to take that as a yes.
I love that.
Maybe a couple.
So tell us a fun one, or your biggest one, or your favorite one, or your least favorite one.
So a fun one that I did when I first found out about the Excel connector. Let me just say this is not the Excel connector's fault. This is operator error completely. So I'd exported out, I can't remember what object I was working with. I think accounts. And I'd exported out, I don't know, it was a few thousand of them. And I updated the values, but I've forgotten that I'd sorted it, but I didn't sort by the account ID. So when I imported the records back in, all the values were wrong because the account IDs were wrong. So after about 15 minutes, I discovered that I'd done this horrible thing.
Wait a second.
This horrible thing.
Heinous thing. I just used the same spreadsheet and like unsorted it and then resorted it with the account IDs and fixed everything that I'd screwed up. Thankfully, my CEO and most of the other senior management were in a meeting when I did this. They knew that I did it. Hey, if you're listening.
JK, it was my other job that I did that at.
I have 2.5 minutes to fix this.
So I think that was probably the biggest thing that I've done, but I mean, I've screwed up a million things. So
and live to tell the tale.
Live to tell the tale. So, I mean, you pick yourself up and move on, like, my bad, I screwed this up and I can fix it. And here's how. Just got to take some accountability. Don't try to cover it up because that never works.
No. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Did you do this? No.
Like, no,
The other admin did it.
yeah, but I thought you were the solo admin. Like, oh yeah, I
Nope.
got that small detail.
Well, thank you very much for taking the time. I know it's late there, and it would have been helpful if I had seen your text, prior to 30 minutes after.
Well, it's been helpful if I wasn't stuck in heinous DC traffic. So thank you for your patience and thanks for asking me. What an honor.
I'm so glad we got to talk to her.
I think it's so funny that we had this unexpected shared moment that you, during your Twitter stalking, found that post about the series that Lauren Jordan used to do of the Girly Geek of the Week, and that was such a moment for all three of us.
Totally.
And to think that was like 3 years ago, 2 years ago, so it's just interesting to sometimes to be in it and feel like it's been forever.
I was just going to say, and subsequently, like, you're like, oh my God, it was so long ago. But when you think about it, 2-3 years ago is not that long ago. And oh my gosh, how much has changed in 2-3 years.
Yeah. And even just like Lauren isn't really as involved in the ecosystem anymore. And how many of those people have become MVPs? And part of her reasoning was getting more involved in the community, becoming an MVP. So it's just interesting how kind of the evolution happens. But I think it's funny because I met Toya at Midwest Dreamin' around that same time. And so I feel like she was one of the first, like, ooh, I met this person kind of people for me.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
So it was great to catch up with her and just to think about, big changes. And she's just taken them with grace. Moving is not a big deal either. I'm sorry, not a small deal. It is a big deal.
Moving's like so not a big deal. There's changing jobs.
Like, doesn't even matter. And then just changing jobs, like whatever. But just trying new things. We didn't even get into the fact that she's grown an entire human person.
Yeah, she's a grown up. What'd she say? 26?
Yeah, man, that's great. I'm like, hey, I fed the dog today. Woohoo!
Yeah, I'm glad we got to talk to her. I feel like the Wit Diversity has been such an impactful group in the community. And I wasn't kidding when I said that I was nervous, mostly because I wanted to get involved and, be a contributor to the call. But I was also nervous to, open my mouth on a call full of people. I don't know. I just was nervous. I just wanted to, I don't even remember the subject or what my question was, but I was a happy nervous, I guess I should say. I wasn't like freaking out, but it was definitely like oh my God, they called on me. I feel like kind of like when you called into a radio show back in the day, like, oh my God.
You actually, am I number 10?
Yeah, I told a story once and then got a call or a text. I don't think it was called a text back then. Did we call it SMS? Did you get an SMS? I think we called it that. Anyways, she was like, were you just on the radio telling the, I think it was sugar in the gas tank story or something? And I was like, oh my God, yeah, it was totally me.
That was your 5 minutes.
Your
2 minutes.
Yeah.
Now it's passed.
It has passed. It's all over.
I feel like you'll be proud of me in that not that long ago, I went to the grocery store like a real big kid, and I actually found a Trader Joe's that's on the way home from work.
Ooh.
And there's one by my house, but the parking lot makes you want to stab people.
Yep.
So it's tough. It's a trade-off. So anyway, I found this other one. It's super convenient. Wandered the TJs, and I discovered my new condiment of choice, which is an aioli garlic mustard sauce.
Ooh, yum. I love all of those things.
Dijon mustard. It's not super garlicky, but I like it different mustards, not just like, I like straight up yellow mustard too, but.
Me too. I like all the mustards.
So in my mind, I'm using it like Dijon mustard, but I put some on my faux BLT yesterday. And by faux, I don't mean I replaced the bacon, in case anyone's concerned. I replaced the lettuce with cheese. So really upped that nutritional game there. But I did make dinner at
BCT.
home. So yeah. So it was basically like a grilled cheese BLT.
Yeah, I like it.
BT.
BCT?
GCBT.
So we just say acronyms. That's your super fave now?
That's my food related super fave. What do you got?
I think the only thing that for some reason I feel very void of super. I've had a lot of awesome things in the last couple of weeks. I had the first Denver user group meeting as a Tro leader. That was awesome. Had some great conversations, some good feedback, some good things going on at work. But I don't have I wanted like a super fave, like a tangible thing. And what I've been doing lately, which I've actually really enjoyed, is making playlists on Spotify. So they'll every once in a while on the browse, or we made this for you. I don't listen to those a lot because I also share my Spotify with my daughter. So when they're like, this is your daily mix, it'll be like a couple cool songs and then 17 Disney songs. And I was like, no, I don't. I'm trying to like be in the zone in this data loading. I don't need to listen to 17 Coco songs, though those are amazing and I love them. So I've been making gym playlists and moody playlists. And then I made a playlist because of one of Toya's Facebook posts. She was talking about introducing rap or R&B, I think we called it rap, didn't we? R&B to somebody, and people started listing like their top 5. And I was like, oh my gosh, just took me back. So I made a whole rap playlist. I still call it rap because I'm that old. So that's been kind of fun. But the problem is I have to try not to do it at work because then I get lost in Songville and I'm like, oh, I just lost an hour. That is not billable. I cannot bill for Spotify.
Can't bill Spotify.
Yeah, I can't tell the client, look, this made me more productive.
But what if this playlist itself makes you more productive?
Yes, it does. Music matters. It matters. It matters in every day. Like I could have a running life soundtrack at all times. And I always have a song stuck in my head at any point in time. This is a fun challenge for anybody listening. Oh my God. Okay. At any given time, there's a song stuck in my head. So tweet me any point in time, noon or night, and ask me what song is stuck in my head and I will answer you.
Girly Geek Social.
Yes. That is my Twitter handle now, thanks to Eric Dreschville, because it used to be Girly Geek SoCal. Because when I started all this stuff, we just moved to California and it never occurred to me that like that is going to carry on or I should do something with it. So when I was talking about moving back to Denver, I said something about my Twitter handle and he's like, oh, well, I always thought it said social. And I was like, done. It does now. So
you are right, sir. Well, Melinda.
Christy Guzman. I'm telling you, I understand it's Guzman, but all these years of calling you Guzman, like I told you on the app cookbook video, I call you Guzman and I know I can't help it.
Technically, if you really want to go there,
I do.
It's Guzman with the emphasis on the end. Well, I mean, you don't have to like necessarily make that motion that I just made, but Guzman. But that's okay. We don't need to. It's Campbell. That's when we need to practice.
Oh,
we're going back to K Camp.
Ooh, I like K Camp. Campbell
in May.
K Camp. K Camp. K Camp. K.
Excellent.
We need shirts.
P.S. I want to give a shout out to someone that messaged me and said they are in the middle of a divorce and that listening to some of the nonsense I had to say helped them feel not as alone in it and that they don't know anyone else that's getting divorced right now. And so that made me really happy. So that is my fab file thing for the day. So I appreciate people that reach out and are excited about stickers and or tell us that you listen and or that, you know, our experiences can be helpful and you know, make us like you're just our little friends hanging out with us.
That warms my heart. I'm so glad.
I know.
I mean, I love making people laugh, but it's also nice to know that some of our idle pratter made someone feel better or feel less alone. Like, oh, I could just cry. All the tears. See, Toya? I cry all the tears for everybody.
Well, stay witty.
Yeah, you too.